My language is totally ganz gescribbled.
For what?
Exactly. Ganz would be German for completely. G is like your preposition for a past German tense. And skruggled, no word. We don't have a skruggled. And I put the ed on it, which is kind of the American ending for a past tense. So, see, that's an example. It's apropos, which is Latin. So Quine, who we haven't talked about yet, but will, on ontology, which is the study of what there is somewhere in this text. Obviously, this is Matti talking about Quine's theories on ontology, and Quine is definitely one of the ones that argues about this statement that the round square cupola in Berkeley College is pink, and how do definite descriptions refer. So that's not it. There's a way you can go. So if Wyman's strategy is to be completely general, it would have to grant being to the round square cupola on Berkeley College. So they're arguing about how language refers and what there must actually be if your statement is true. So if we say that a statement is true, then what it says, it pictures in the statement, must refer to the specific characteristics: round, square, cupola, Berkeley, right, all that stuff. So, and these, by the way, are referred to as definite descriptions. I wonder, I might. Maybe not. Let me take that and just go up here. Noun phrase introduced by the definite article or its equivalent and purporting to denote a particular entity or phenomenon, for example. That's a definite description. You're wearing a sweatshirt that's black and has the phrase salty dog on it.
Correct.
And everyone in the room successfully understood what I was referring to, because the atomic nature of my phrase described that particular object. And so that's how language succeeds. I know, it sounds absolutely incredible that philosophers are spending this much time arguing something that seems so ridiculous. Actually, it's not. If you look at the whole process of all this, this eventually leads to computer code, which is obviously not a waste of time. How language works. That's really actually where all of this leads to in the British and American tradition, the analytic philosophy tradition, right? But notice the problem is that this atomic view required language to have a one-to-one correspondence, which only works if language is resilient, unchanging, always remains the same, etc. Which, guess what?
You don't do that.
Along comes Wittgenstein post-Dewey, post-Hegel, realizing that words are not like that. C.S. Lewis is wrong. Words evolve. And since that's the case, the atomic logical, whatever that was, right? Doesn't work, right? So Russell's whole program is, Wittgenstein does not succeed in telling everyone to stop doing what Russell's trying to get them to do. In fact, if you read Brian McGee, that was his big complaint, that he goes to study there years later and discovers that Everyone's just still trying to analyze meaning. And by the way, if you have a big philosophical question like, is life meaningful? That's a dumb question. We don't talk about things like that. We have to parse the language and figure out what possible meaning there might be in that kind of question. By the way, there isn't. So stop it. Right? But the reason I want to study philosophy is because I have all these questions. Oh, we're not interested in those. We're interested in what does this word mean and this, so he was infuriated. But he studied, he graduated, by the way, and then he went to Yale where they were talking about the questions he wanted to ask all along. So he was very happy to go to Yale because even though Yale can do language analysis, that wasn't all that they did. Whereas in England at the time, they were totally focused on just language analysis. So Wittgenstein didn't get them off of that. And yet what he does show in his philosophical investigations why French? I don't want it in French. Investigations. Well, what will happen? Okay. So the philosophical investigations, this is published post-mortem, or is that the right phrase for after he died?
Mm-hmm.
Seems to me there's another one, but that's okay.
Post-populus.
But
He dead.
he's dead.
Yeah.
But he had pretty much written all of this stuff.
You're real guys.
And by the way, he's got notebooks and stuff. If you go to the bookstore, Ignobles, Barnes and Ignobles, and see what they've got, they have probably Wittgenstein on grammar, Wittgenstein on love, Wittgenstein on moldy bread, all those topics. Don't be fooled. It's all the same stuff. They just took his stuff and repackaged it in various books to try to make more money off of you. Some of them, like Wittgenstein on mathematics, so that takes all of like his lines on mathematics. Wittgenstein on love might go and find, he said something about love over here. By the way, he's probably very confused about that because he was a weird person. They all say, you can see it in the way even he's depicted. So this isn't actually him.
A dog cannot lie. Neither can he be sincere.
I don't know who those two guys are, but
A dog may be expecting his master to come.
that guy's
Why
supposed to
can't
be
he be
Bertrand
expecting him to
Russell.
come next Wednesday?
He's actually Batman's sidekick.
Is it because he doesn't have language?
That's,
If a lion
I
could
think
speak,
G.E. Moore, I'm not sure.
we would not be able to understand what he said. Why do I say such a thing?
The actor who's playing Wittgenstein in this said that he had no clue what Wittgenstein was talking about.
Could get me turned. Do you mean for me or for the lion? Yes, yes.
That's supposed to be Bertrand Russell.
What possible use would that be? To imagine a language is to imagine a form of life. It's what we do and who we are that gives meaning to our words. I can't understand a lion's language because I don't know what his world is like. How can I know the world a lion inhabits? Do I fail to understand him because I can't peer into his mind?
This movie, by the way, is a full-length movie called Wittgenstein. I don't know if that's easy to remember or not. It's the director is Derek Jarman, who's dead now. He died of AIDS. And there is kind of a posture that Wittgenstein was
What's
gay
going on?
in the
That's a
movie,
false statement.
Can I say?
and that's not agreed on.
He's a very pleasant man.
There are folks that think he might have been gay, but there are other
Think of
folks
that.
that say no.
The thought, Professor.
He was weird, but not gay.
I see. What is the thought?
In fact, he did want to marry one of his
Behind the words,
cousins,
This is a
female,
very pleasant pineapple.
and she was horrified and said no.
This is a very pleasant pineapple.
Listen to me. We imagine the meaning of what we say is something queer. Mysterious.
By the way, they
Hidden
use
from
queer
view.
in a queer
But
way back
nothing is
then.
hidden.
It's not the
Everything is
same
open
as-
to view.
By the way,
It's
the French word spoon, French word spoon
Philosophers
is
who rule the
queer
waters.
because
Professor
it
Wittgenstein,
curves
you can't know this
a
pen.
certain way,
Only I can.
Are you sure you know?
which makes me think that the reason that the Brits began using
How
queer to represent homosexuality is because
It's like a penis.
no,
I don't follow.
the one who
It makes no sense
Where
to
are we
speak
going
of
with
knowing
this?
something in a context where we could not possibly doubt it. Therefore, to
Anybody
say
get
I
it?
know I am in pain is entirely senseless.
No.
the receiver bends
You
over.
want to know the meaning of a word.
Well, why
Don't
did you
look
say that?
inside
So going.
yourself. Look at the
I feel
uses of
queer
word
about
now
the
in
word
life.
queer
Oh, I
and how
see.
that
I
works.
see.
Look at how we behave.
But so it
Are you
sounds to
saying
me
there
like
are
the
no
word queer came
philosophical
from the
problems?
French for spoon.
There are
Probably.
We even use that expression, they're
Linguistic.
spooning.
Yeah.
mathematical, ethical, logistic, and
It's not my fault.
religious problems,
another
but there are
phrase taken in the
no
book.
genuine philosophical problems.
You're trivializing philosophy.
Philosophy is just a byproduct of misunderstanding language. Why don't you realize that?
So,
Is it always a misunderstanding of language,
yeah,
though?
but see how angry he got over it?
Yeah, what
so,
the hell's his problem?
yeah, so,
Calm down.
so you get the idea. He was,
Passionate.
the one, this is hilarious. This was historical. He almost was run over by a bicyclist. I don't know why there would be three of them.
That's awesome. They're actually properly flipping him off. Yep.
What does this mean?
It means fuck you.
It's a gesture of contempt.
A cyclist did this to me as I was crossing the road. I decided then and there to kill myself.
Oh.
Are you coming to the Palladium with us this evening?
But what's the logical structure of this gesture? It doesn't have one. That means I spent most of my life groping down a blind alley.
Isn't it rather an overreaction to kill yourself because somebody gives you a visa?
Philosophy hunts for the essence of meaning.
It is an interesting movie.
There's no such thing. Just the way we do things in everyday life. Things like that. The college porter knows that.
He's bad
So what are
shit.
you planning to do for the rest of your
Is
life?
what?
Bad shit.
I
He's
should start by
crazy.
committing suicide.
Okay, well,
Campaign
that's why I
for-
showed you this. So that you would get that sense that he was a genius, maybe, but he also did stuff like that.
I'm gonna kill myself because I'm gonna flip me off.
All the problems of philosophy.
So,
What I meant was that I tried to do the sort of thing that
I
philosophers
said that actually.
could say,
That's what I was
and
trying to
these
say.
aren't really important.
But you've been
What's much more important
nodding off.
is all the things
What's
it
the
can't
question?
articulate.
Okay, so
Doesn't cut the mustard.
Is philosophy
Where-
a mistake?
That's right.
where did Wittgenstein build a cabin in Norway?
Ooh.
Not
Where? What? Where?
Where did Wittgenstein build a cabin
That's right.
in
In
Norway?
this later work, I abandoned the idea that language is a picture. That's just a
Build a
misleading
what? A
picture.
cabin?
I mean, you might
In
say
where,
that the
Norway?
word handbag is a picture of a handbag. But what about words like hello?
Excellent. You're gonna show us? Let's see. In the fjord? Now we're in.
to Norway,
Fjord.
climbed up the hill, built his own cabin there, and lived there for 2 years.
He lived there for 2 years. There, you got a little bonus thing.
If this is the right video, they'll actually, there's a little flag, a Austrian flag. Remember, this is Norway. But it's so hard to get to this little cabin. He wanted to be as far away from people as he could get. So he had to like carry this. You think, well, that's a version of autism, right?
What is geniusness? Intelligence? High intelligence? Where's my notes?
Extreme maleness.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, glad you're better. Hope you're feeling better. You guys are experiencing life here.
Can we like pause online so I can just catch up?
One day, maybe. You might be able to
That's
just
called
like
death. It's a permanent pause online.
a nap. There you go.
Yeah, I've been napping for like 3 weeks straight, so.
Yeah.
When you get to my age, you can afford naps.
How old are you?
67.
I have a long way to go, okay?
I'm not far off.
There it is. There it is. You see it? There's the.
Let's see, 67.
That's not the same video though. It's.
I have 46 more years. That's a long time. I have to have a career.
It'll just zip right by. You
I'm
won't.
just gonna sleep through my career stage.
Here's the flagpole. That's just. I think interesting. Any questions for me, or is that?
No, just many cheers. Fare thee well.
See you later.
Leave all. Oh. Good night. Oh, Wiedersehen. Oh, I can't remember the song.
Adieu. That's the end of that line.
Auf Wiedersehen. Good night.
Favorite movie.
Pardon?
My mom's favorite.
Oh.
She watches it every Christmas. I remember because she made me watch it every Christmas. We're watching The Sound
There
of
was a
Music.
comic in today's paper that the guy was walking the dog or holding the dog, and there's mountains all around, and he says, "We don't have to climb every mountain. That's just a song."
Yeah. Well, I gotta go. My wife's dental appointment is at 12
Oh,
o'clock.
jeez. Well,
So you have a
Enjoy.
very good day.
be safe.
Oh, yeah.